As you can see, still bothered by fireworks. Not. It's taken about a day, 2 days for virtually every leaf to fall off the sweet chestnut tree. Look at that, there's hardly any leaves left on there at all. Also, of course, no evidence of any spiky nut cases, so to speak. So yes, we definitely had no sweet chestnuts this year. Oh well, fingers crossed for next year. It's not been a great year for nuts in general in this part of the southeast anyway. I've not seen a lot of acorns on the trees. I've not seen a lot of hazelnuts on the hazel trees. No, and certainly no sweet chestnuts, and I've hardly seen any conkers either. It's weird, isn't it? You do have these things called mast years, where you get a massive proliferation of nuts and fruit growing on trees, and then other years you get the opposite of a mast year, an unmasked year, whatever that is, if you want to call it that. And I think we're having one of those. It's bad news for the squirrels though. It's bad news for the squirrels and the birds, because they haven't got the food stuff to bulk up before the winter. So if you are someone who puts feed out for your birds and for your squirrels, you might want to up that a bit. And if you want to keep the squirrels out of the bird food, add some chili powder, because the birds can't taste or smell the chili powder, but the mammals can. Blue sky, bit of sunshine. What's going on? I'll tell you what's going on is a nice respite from how miserable it's been recently. I heard yesterday that the last 2 weeks, in other words the first couple of weeks of November, here in the southeast of England, we've had 23 minutes of sunshine. Can't say I'm surprised. I mean, it's chilly, you expect it to be chilly, you expect it to be a bit windy as well, but a little bit more sunshine would have been nice. Anyway, it's nice today, and that's what matters. Sound of the rustling leaves, the sun coming through gaps in the hedgerows. Bloody lovely, the autumn, isn't it? Well, a lot of this is still green. This is mostly hazel along here. And most of it's still green, but it's still lovely, isn't it? Look at this. Lovely, lovely, lovely. As always, there's plenty of helicopters to ruin the river a little, but I just try to zone them out. And just enjoy the walk. Coming down to one of my favourite oak trees now. This is the area, if you look back in the spring, this is the area that's always completely covered in bluebells. None of this bracken's here then. But look at this, look. I love this oak tree. I've got to duck down and get under this branch. I just love the shape of this oak tree. It's marvellous. It's a marvellous oak tree. A quick look out onto the field, I suppose, see if I can see any deer today. No, can't see any today. Oh well. Carry on through the woodlands. Oh, there's a whole bunch of puffballs here, look. Now they're normally activated by the rain falling on them, but if I give them a bit of a tap, look at this, look, look. All these spores coming out, look. Doing my bit to make sure they spread and proliferate and come back next year. There we go. Red kite, he was on the ground just now. Didn't quite get my phone out quick enough to catch him. Another one up there just circling by the trees. They do say locally here it's almost impossible to look up without seeing a red kite. We're very lucky. What a lovely day again. Another one of these. Same message? Absolutely. How lucky are we? And do you know what? We are lucky because we're still here. we've had the means to destroy ourselves since the 1940s, but we haven't, because there's more good people than bad. And good will always win out. I'm sorry, but it will. It always has done. Every time there's been a threat posed to democracy or to anything like that, the good people come shining through and it gets fixed. And I'm sure things will happen like that. And certainly I'm going to do everything I can to make the world a better place, because I want my descendants to look back at me as their ancestor and think, he was a good ancestor. He did good things. It's the best legacy you can leave behind. Another J on the ground there, just on the path. I've been putting a lot of these up on here recently because there are so many of them. Not one decent piece of video or photograph though. But it's not my fault, it's the J's fault. They keep running away. I thought I'd take the opportunity today to talk about this channel, and in particular about comments, because the one thing that's been extraordinary has been how positive all of the comments have been. And I don't mean most of the comments, I mean all of them. There's been no negative comments whatsoever on this channel, which, when you consider I've had 2.5 million views or more, and I've got over 50,000 subscribers, for a social media platform to find that no one's being negative or, you know, leaving any comments that are in any way derogatory is something else. And I am so flattered and happy about that. And I do read every comment. I do read every comment. Two things in particular get mentioned in the comments. The first is comparing some of the stuff I do to various items or characters that are found in video games. Now, I'm sure that's also very flattering, but as I don't play video games and never have done, I've never had the time. I don't know anyone finds the time to play video games. I'm too busy. I have no idea what anyone's talking about. So thank you for leaving the comments, but unfortunately I can't always comment on your comment because I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry about that. The second thing I will point out is quite a number of people have suggested that I should do collaborations with other YouTubers. Now, I'm very much up for that, because there's a lot of YouTubers whose work I love. And it'd be fantastic to do a budget cooking challenge with someone like Atomic Shrimp, or a foraging challenge. It would be lovely to do an arts and making a crafter video challenge with people like Bill Making Stuff and Boyle Hobby Time and Bobby Duke or Dan Does or Craftsman or any of those other brilliant makers. And there are many more. Nerdforge is another one. I'd love to do something with those sorts of people. So if any of you do have a visit my channel and you see this, then I'm up for it. Give me a shout. I would love to do something like that. In the meantime, it'll be just me soldiering on, walking around the countryside, making observations about nature and life in general, and posting up the various arts projects I'm involved with whenever I'm involved with them. Now on with the meander. Well, it's a bit windy today. I've had to deploy the chin strap, and there's a little bit of a chill in the air, but I tell you what, it's a lovely day. Lots of sunshine, lots of blue sky, and in about 2 hours time I'm heading off into London yet again, although this is going to be a very nice thing because it's the annual Catherine Briggs lecture. Now, Catherine Briggs used to be the head of the British Folklore Society, and this annual speech is named in her honour, and it takes place at Cecil Sharp House, which is the home of the English Folk Dance and Song Society, which is the kind of repository of British folk performance, you know, old and new. And it's a wonderful place, and the lecture this year is being given by a chap called Doc Rowe. Now, Doc Rowe, who's just about to celebrate his 80th birthday, has spent 60 years documenting English folk culture, travelling all over the country, filming all these extraordinary performances and events and festivals that take place. He started off in the early days with cine film and recording things on reel-to-reel tape recorders. Then he progressed through cassettes and mini discs, and then video came along, and he's still doing it to this day. The man's extraordinary, and last year there was a Kickstarter campaign to actually digitise his entire 60-year archive so that it becomes available to researchers, you know, folklorists like me. And I'm delighted. I think I was one of the very first people to subscribe to it and put my few quid in. But he's the person giving the lecture tonight, and it promises to be fascinating. We're also going to get a talk by Professor Ronald Hutton, who's probably Britain's most celebrated academic studier of folklore. His books on ancient paganism, on druids, on the history of witchcraft and things like that, are the staple books. If you were studying the subject, they would be the textbooks you'd go to. The man's wonderful. He's also delightfully eccentric and wonderfully charming, and I'm really looking forward to it. So that's where I'm off to very shortly. Do come with me. And here we are at Cecil Sharp House. So let's go and have a look. Mural by Stuart Francis Easton. It's lovely, isn't it? This is the bar, you see, downstairs, which isn't open at the moment because we've got drinks upstairs. Hurrah. So let's wander through this maze of a building to the cafe now and get myself a cup of tea. Well, here we are, ready for the awards. Just with his back to me is Professor Ronald Hutton, and just behind him, also with his back to me, is Ben Edge, the artist. Doc Rowe is just over there, the gentleman with the white thinning hair there. And it's a good crowd. It's going to be a good evening. It's going to be a good evening.
And then Halloween, of course, which has been adopted by everybody. It's not just for children anymore. And Trick or Treat, which is imported religiously from elsewhere. And we're reminded of all these things by Clinton cards and Sainsbury's, who want to sell us their products. So you can't escape. And then there's the Day of Death that creeps in as well. So what? Even so, in Whitby, where the archive, they have. Well, they had last week another of their goth weekends, the most fanciful imagery comes in. It was great fun. Photographer's delight, of course.
Because our winner is Tabitha Stanmore, Cunning Folk, Life in the Era of Practical Magic. Okay. So,
I don't think it's nepotism.
I'm going to say what they say about you, so you're going to have to stand there and blush for a little bit.
You're a gentleman, sir. Great talk, really enjoyed it. Well, and it's so important.
Almost got there.
It's so important. Yeah, I know. It's so important to talk about these things, though. Well, this has been a wonderful evening. Nice to meet Doc Rowe, who I'd never met before, over my shoulder here. Bit of a hero. Also nice to reacquaint myself with Professor Ronald Hutton. And Ben Edge, the artist, who's at the doorway, just about there. I know Ben of old, his book, Frontline Folklore, was a big hit this year. So there you go. That's it for this week. I'll see you in the next video. Toodle. And don't forget that our Neo-Pagan Wheel of the Year calendar is now available to pre-order. UK residents simply scan the QR code. Overseas customers email us at copa.artist@gmail.com and we'll try and work out the cheapest way of posting it to you. Thanks very much. If you've enjoyed this video, then please consider subscribing. Or click on some of these links to look at some of the other videos on the channel. Or press the like button. Or leave a comment. It would be lovely to hear from you. Any combination of those four things would be wonderful. Thank you very much.